Then we're just gonna add a little teaspoon of sugar as well. You live in the US, chef? Yes, I live in the US. I moved over here since September, nearly a year next month. How crazy is that? So September last year. And I got married to my wife in October 19th. So, yeah, been here for nearly a whole year now. Crazy. But yeah, I used to live in the UK. That's where I grew up. Do you like the US? I do like the US. I do like it out here. There's lots of things to do. And I don't know, over where I'm living at least, there's a lot more kind of produce and a lot more availability. I really like it. So yeah, I'm kind of getting used to it, and I like it, yeah. Congrats. Welcome to the land of freedom. To be crazy. Dude, I moved to Amsterdam September last year. I'm English, but grew up in France. Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. I hope you're enjoying it. I hope you're happy there. Also, King Sea Salt, thank you so much for the follow. Hope you're having a rad, cheeky Monday. It's Monday today, right, guys? Dear me. I can't even keep up with the day. Right, so once that's pretty much all dissolved, near enough there, we're going to pour that straight in. I'm going to add a little teaspoon of sugar as well to the flour, so that will kind of provide the food for the yeast so it can grow, ferment and bubble. Chef, quick question, go for it. I'm a type 2 diabetic, but downfall is like desserts and sweet stuff. Yeah, I know I'm not good for like diabetics, but do you know any good like desserts that I could try maybe? So, as I'm no doctor when it comes to things like this, so if it's type 2, do you need less or more sugar? So, I'm no doctor, so I can't really suggest to you, oh yeah, have this, that, and the other. But I can make suggestions for desserts with lower amounts of sugar in them. So if you're looking for like kind of less sugar, using stuff instead of like say milk in a dessert, you could use almond milk, because milk has natural sugars in there. You could use almond milk, which has 0% sugar in there. Also to help kind of lower it, instead of using granulated sugar, using honey is actually a sweeter product. So 1 teaspoon of sugar and 1 teaspoon of honey are exactly the same in calories. But because honey's a lot sweeter, you could probably use like half a teaspoon. So that's another way to kind of reducing the amount of sugar intake down as well. There's like alternatives out there for like different desserts as well. I've made lots of like kind of low sugar desserts in the past. So yeah, just loads of little tips like that, definitely. Hey, Shavin, what's up, buddy? Thank you so much as well for the tier 2 28 months. I forgot to shout it out. I did see it, and I think I was rambling on about my mic and so on and so forth. Dude, thank you so much for the tier 2 and the 28 months. How you doing, buddy? How's things? And I hope things are well. Right, that's all dissolved very nicely. Just going to get the cheeky sugar just for a little bit of food for the yeast itself. Also, thank you, God, as well, for the follow. Appreciate it. Hope you're having a fantastic Monday, and it's good to have you here, my friend. Thank you so much for that follow. Or Monday evening for you, right? Doesn't sound like almonds. What were you on? What are you talking about now? Wish uncheeky Francais. Love it, love it. Thanks. No, you're most welcome, buddy. Using chocolate with like high percentage chocolate could also work as well. Yeah, and I also recommend just like generally just like look on the back of the packet, and it will tell you like how much sugar is in what or per serving, so you can calculate how much sugar intake you can take, being diabetic. You know, so you have more control of your like sugar intake. So I'd suggest just look on the back of the packets on any food you're intaking if you're still unfamiliar with yourself. Maybe you are a little bit more familiar, you know, what you're eating. But yeah, there's like alternative ways and different ways to kind of reduce sugar. Those are like a very small few of them though. I hope that kind of helps a little bit. If you're willing to put in the work to bake your own like sweets wheels, you can definitely indulge your sweet tooth. One of my friends was like diabetic, and she baked like gluten-free cookies all the time. Yeah, you can do. Even like little tricks like freezing grapes down for like kind of like an ice cream. So you can put some grapes in the freezer, and once they're frozen, they're quite delicious as like a sweet tooth snack with not too much sugar in there. They do obviously have the natural sugars. Don't go too crazy with it, but that's another one as well. There's lots of different ideas you can do out there to help reduce the sugar intake. So, right, so just giving this a little bit of a mix. We've got some salt in there, some sugar. So what we're gonna do, pop this straight in. Beautiful. So all that's been dissolved very nicely. Make sure you get all that little nice little bit of milk and the yeast in there. We're going to get our hands in there. You can do this with the machine. I prefer doing it by hand. I've always enjoyed making things by hand, so by hand it is. Vegan Girl, I know, used freeze bananas, blitz them up, make a like dark ice cream. Yeah, you could do it that way as well, with a bit of cocoa powder, natural sugars from the banana. That's another way. Or you could even make a smoothie out of it if you wanted to. That's another way. So yeah, there's lots of different ways you can kind of do this. So now I don't want to make this like too dry or into like a really dry dough. If it's a little bit wet, that's fine, because we're going to be adding more liquid to it anyway. I'm probably going to add a little touch more of flour to it though. But what I'm going to do is just going to give this like a nice little kind of knead, just until it just kind of comes together. So, and it should start coming together. And then what we're going to do then eventually is start adding the liquid. So we do want like a really pasty mix, but for the time being, I'm just going to work this very, very nicely. Just working it, and it'll start coming together very shortly. So just going to kind of help stretch the gluten a little bit, and then we're going to form into a nice little dough. Don't feel like, oh my god, I got to add loads of flour. No, 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 no. Just keep mixing it. Just keep working it. It'll start coming together. It will be a little bit sticky. That's fine. But just work it. Uber Eats has started like doing McDonald's to my house. Goodness me. Goodness me. I'm not a huge fan of McDonald's. You can ask my community. They know how much I hate it. But I get it. For people who do enjoy it, that's fine. That's fine. But they got these like lovely potato fries and like truffle mayo burgers. What? Who do? Why not like make your own? Be so much better, so much more tasty. If you can get hold of some truffle oil. McDonald's, ugh. Nah, I'll pass. Went there once before, never again in my lifetime. It's trash, absolute trash. I'm sorry for you guys who do love it, but honestly, I can think of like better ways to kind of have treat foods, shall I say. I really don't like it. So just working this out. It's starting to come together nicely. Let's get in there. But as I said, I'm not too concerned about the consistency, because we're going to be adding water to this to turn it into like a, almost like a batter. So if you think, oh my god, this is not going to work, yes it will. It will. Just keep working it. Or if you want to use the paddle, you can do. We're going to work it by hand. So where are we at now? When I move somewhere with a bigger kitchen, I'll barbecue. Happy to cook whoever I go see. The parents, I'll cook all day, every day. That's fantastic. That's really good. Except for like mushroom burgers, but I can make that. Can if you wanted to. Have you tried the new Popeyes chicken? No, I don't eat out in like fast food places, not very often. Or I try to like kind of avoid those places. I usually go for like family-run places if we're going to eat out like that. But I try and avoid it. I prefer making homemade foods, to be honest with you. Hey, True Gamer, it's been a while. How you doing, dude? How's things? Hope you're doing well. And I hope life is good. It's good to see you. Then I go home to my place and just make pasta and rice and stuff. I lose the motivation. Yeah, sometimes it can be hard. And it can be very difficult. But yeah, you just got to find ideas and just keep yourself like kind of motivated for stuff to kind of to make. God. But yeah, it can be difficult. And just to let you guys know, it is PG streaming here. Just to let you know, if you didn't know already, you're new here, don't worry, it's fine. Don't worry. But yeah, just PG in our streams. What's your favorite cut of beef? I like any kind of cut of beef, to be honest with you, from like ribs to sirloin to fillet to any kind of beef, to be honest with you. Flank. So much good choice. Where are we at now? The Karina Gonzi, sorry. Yeah, it's actually pretty good. It's surprisingly good. Right, so let's give this a nice little mix. Beautiful. If you had to choose one, oh, it's a hard one. It depends on like the season and like what's the weather like and like that's a hard one for me. I don't think I can just choose it. Because if it's like winter, I like things like stews and pies and things like that, stuff that kind of keeps you warm. And then like during the summer, it's like things like barbecues and like ribs and like steak and, you know, not as if I don't enjoy steak during the winter, but I would say a cheeky ribeye if I'm going for steak. I quite like ribeye. It's got a bit of mix of flavor and good quality in my opinion. But I like anything, even like rump steak is pretty good. It's a bit more tougher, but it's got a lot of flavor on it for a steak. So like autumn or wintry vibes, like you could do like a nice little beef dumpling stew. So with like nice little ground root vegetables, and then you make your own little fluffy dumplings to go in there, and then just making a nice rich dark stock and sauce to go with it. So I like those kind of things, like stews and like maybe a beef soup or with dumplings, or you know, anything like that's pretty good. And like kind of slow cuts as well, like chuck or any kind of like stewing beef. You're just going to very slowly cook down any kind of like the joints, you know, anything like that. Or even like ribs as well. Ribs you can slowly cook down and flake them very nicely. Tomorrow though, I will be making like a lovely whole wheat pasta dish with homemade pesto mixed with the cashew nuts and roasted sunflower seeds. That sounds good, buddy. That sounds so good. And hope you enjoy it, amigo. Right, so let's give this a little mix around. So we're just about there. We're just about there. So we're going to let this kind of, I'm going to scrape this down. And we're just going to let this kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Prove for about an hour. So it is going to be very sticky, but that's fine because we're going to turn this into like almost like a batter mix. So I don't really want to add more flour. So if you end up adjusting the recipe, it will start changing, and you don't want them to do that. So it's pretty much come to like a little, still very pasty, but it's worked very nicely. We don't want to overwork it, but we do want to make sure it's all worked very nicely to get at least a bite, but not overworked where it's going to be really tough. So, right, let me get my spatula. So what we're going to do is just take all this off, put this back into the dough. So perfect. So I'm just going to scrape around the sides, just make sure we get all this in the middle, so it's all nicely put together. There we go. And yeah, we've got Discord there, guys. If you're not on Discord and you do cooking at home and you want to share with the community, if you've got recipes or if you take pictures at home, you do cooking, please feel free to join Discord. It's free to join. You don't need to be subbed, but please feel free to check it out. And you can post any pictures on there. Fantastic. I'd love to see it as well. It's a great way if you want to get in contact with me, if you need any advice or questions for Chef, anything like that. Jeff, we're sending a cow to the butcher soon. Are there any like bones or something that they may throw out? I should probably ask to keep and use for like cooking. I don't think really. I guess it's kind of a question you really want to be asking the butcher when before you send it off or speak to them and say, asking them, because I don't know. I guess it depends on your country. It depends on how the butcher decides to take the cow apart and what they decide to keep and what they decide not to. That's kind of a question you want to be asking them more than anything. But I guess, yeah, if you want bones, especially the ones for like the hock and stuff, which have got the marrow in it, it's good for like kind of beef stock or like jus. Yeah, just make sure you ask them to keep it. I won't know until like, I don't know, every company I guess is different. So that's the question is probably better for them rather than me. You can use those like beef bones to make, Korean, you could, definitely. Jeff, when I caramelize onions, should I have a lid on it, on the pot? You don't necessarily need to, no. If you have a lid on it, you're going to kind of like have moisture on it, so it's going to kind of stew, not like kind of braise down very nicely or like caramelize. So, you know, add in like a touch of water to pull up when you're caramelizing the onions, you want them kind of not frying, but pretty much searing off, or frying, yeah, I suppose so. So when you cook them down, the sugars come out of the onions, and then they kind of like not burn as such, but catch on the bottom of the pan. So as soon as you see the pan go quite like dark brown, you add a little touch of water, and it'll bring all those caramelization back up and into the onions again. So, but depends on what you're making. I mean, if you're making it for like a soup or something, I would do it like that, or use chicken stock to deglaze the pan. But is it, what's the onions for exactly? Is it just for like burgers or hot dogs or something like that? Boil them for a couple of hours or a couple of days in a row, and you've got a healthy classic soup. Yeah, definitely. Russ, trust me, man. There's nothing better than on earth than the demi-glace sauce. Oh yeah, certainly. It's very, very tasty. Right, so that dough is like pretty much ready. What we're gonna do is cling film this over. You're so hungry now? Crazy. True Gamer, how's things with you, dude? How are you? It's so lovely to see you, and it's been quite a long time. I hope things are well with you, amigo, and let me know how things. I hope things are all well with you. It's good to see you. Be nice for a little cheeky catch-up, good sir. Oh my god, I'm so hungry now. Too much talk about beef, right? Too much talk about beef. Right, so let's have a look. So what we're going to do, just make sure that's all nicely sealed. And what we're going to do with this, we're going to put this on top of the fridge, right? And then we're going to let that kind of like prove and bubble for about an hour. After the hour or two, we're going to add the water mix next, and then we're going to turn it into like almost like a pasty batter, and we're going to let that prove one more time, and then that should be good to go. So this is not like kind of a bread dough you're looking for, but more of a kind of batter. But to begin with, it's kind of like a bread dough, but very loose. And then obviously when we add the water, it'll get to the right consistency. So where's the best place to put this? Well, I would say on top of the fridge. Why? Because it's high up. Why high up? Well, you got to think about it. Heat rises and cold sinks. So if you had it somewhere low, it's not really going to prove. It's not going to be in a warm place. Whereas like if you have it up really nice and high, it's where the heat kind of stays and it hangs about. So higher up, but somewhere safe, would definitely be on top of a fridge. So that's definitely a good place to kind of do it. So yeah. Oh my god, so hungry now. Beef is the dog's, if you know what I mean, chef. My favorite thing. Oh yeah. Hey, Sleepy Turtle, how's it going, buddy? How you doing, amigo? What have you been up to? Hope you're having a fantastic Monday. It's good to have you here. What have you been up to? Right, let's give this a little spray down. I'm gonna have a little clean and tidy. Right, let's give this a nice little spray. Perfect. Right, so let's give this a nice little wipe up. I'm hungry too. Should get yourself some something to eat, amigos. Something to eat. Alien Bo, what's up, buddy? It's so good to see you. And how's things? And could we get a shout out for? Oh, there we go. Thank you, Shifty. He already beat me to it. Kira, thank you so much for the host. Kira, what have you been up to? It's so lovely to see you. It's been a while. Hope things are well with you, my friend. And thank you so much for popping in. That's the issue, Chef Stream, with Chef Streams. I eat my daily calorie intake in 15 minutes. I always recommend make sure you have food before coming, otherwise, yeah, you're gonna be hungry after. Right, busy with this and that. It's good to see you all. It's good to see you too, my friend. I hope things are well, and I appreciate you popping back in. But hope all is well, even though it's been busy. Hey, Prominent Sun, it's been a while. It's so lovely to see you guys today, and hope things are well with you. Welcome back. Right, what else am I doing? So, the crumpets are on the go. We're going to make the beans. Now, I was going to make the tomato sauce, but I'm actually going to adjust the tomato sauce. So I had some spare sauce left over from last week. And I thought, do you know what? Instead of freezing it down, why don't I just make it? Because, second of all, I don't really want to be making like lots and lots of tomato sauce. And third of all, I just really want to kind of adjust the flavor with a bit of Worcestershire sauce, getting it to a point where I want it for these beans, or the cannelloni beans. I do want them stewing down in the sauce. So, but yeah, this is a basic sauce with onions, garlic, thyme, tomatoes, canned tomatoes as well. So it's a fresh tomato sauce that we've made. but I'm going to use these for the baked beans for our breakfast crumpet burger, right? Or crumpet breakfast burger. There we go. So where did Chef start? Classically trained. Or started in the kitchen, worked your way up. Pretty much. If you want to know a little bit more of a lowdown, we've got a clip. A little bit more about me, of like who I am. Oh, whoopsie. So there's a clip there you can watch. I kind of pretty much been in the industry for about 14 years. I've been doing this full-time, teaching on Twitch for 2.5 years. I've kind of been all over the UK, from different restaurants, from fine dining to Michelin star to working for Mr. Ramsay and cooking for celebrities and things like that, and Johnny Depp. So it was pretty fun. I also did a lot of kind of like an executive chef, kind of going into restaurants and hotels and trying to help them pull up their health and safety, helping them with menus and things like that. So also doing that as well. So I've been doing lots of things, really. But yeah, when I started this, really, really happy. Dude, that's so cool. Exciting times. Always exciting times. Mass, how are you doing? Yeah, it's been a long time. It's good to see you. You're doing well. It's so good to see you as well, my friend. And what have you been up to? Fill me in, like, what you've been up to, and been busy with work, or, you know, whichever it is. I hope life is good, my friend. It's lovely to have you back. Are you not doing, like, the Instagram thing anymore? Thank you, Shifty. Somebody had to remind me. Shifty, you're awesome. Because, yeah, I totally forgot. I keep forgetting every time I stream. I'm like, oh, yeah, Instagram thing. I totally forgot about it. Thank you, Amigo. I appreciate that. Phone, where is it? Do you know what? If you hadn't said anything, I probably would have got halfway through and I would have gone, beep. So, yeah, we are still doing the Instagram thing. Thank you so much, Shifty. Otherwise, knowing me, I probably would have forgot, so... Right, so that's one done. Insane, man. I wanted to be like a chef my whole life. Then at one point, my teenagehood, I decided to become a music producer. I'm not gonna lie, music producer sounds like a lot better career than being a chef. And look, unless you get yourself really high up with chefs, you don't really make a lot of money. Not a huge deal of money. And second of all, you spend a lot of hours in the kitchen or restaurant, especially if you're head chef. Pretty much your life is dedicated into the kitchen. I'm doing well. About to heat up my leftover smoky jack burger. Ooh, sounds very good. CGR, what knives do you recommend? I have used like Victorinox